Few things in my world are as influential as Bionicle. An ambitious multimedia project created by LEGO in the early 2000s. This series changed the way I think about 3D artwork, graphic design, and digital compositing. Various toy lines have come and gone, but the legend remains alive and well, by sharing stories, custom builds, illustrations, comics, and more. This vibrant fan community has made some seriously cool stuff. And what better way to show that off than through video games? And that's what we're checking out tonight. Independent fan projects you can play right now, and one official demo that never made it past the prototype stage. I'm Glaucon, and this is Bionicle Indie Games. As many as I could fit into one video. Let's rock!
Gathered friends, listen again to our legend of the Bionicle.
Nothing kicks off an epic quest like a vibrant world and freedom to explore. In Technic Ranger, you take control of Maku. No relation. A lone robot investigating a mysterious planet. This 3D puzzle platformer has you roaming all over a deserted island, and obtaining new powers along the way. Technically, the Bionicle presence here is not overt. It's more so inspired by the theme, but definitely captures that vibe. As we boot up the game, a simple cutscene sets the stage for our mechanical hero. A mask. A mission. Next thing you know, you're washed ashore on the golden beach. I love the aesthetic. The low poly pixel art look is used to great effect, making up the building blocks of this lush, tropical setting. There's a satisfying flow to jumping around and traversing the environment, hopping up and down, collecting bits wherever you can. The island is comprised of 3 main biomes, each with their own mask power. By the end, you'll be using all your abilities in tandem to reach new heights, allowing you to power floating platforms, defy the laws of gravity, or surf through toxic swamplands. Technic Ranger was created by a team of 7 artists over the course of 8 months, a capstone project from students at the University of Central Florida. With limited time and resources, it can be a little rough around the edges, but this game isn't about twitch reflexes or surpassing the competition. It's an introspective journey through a civilization lost to time, venturing off the beaten path, taking the time to see what's around every corner. With that spirit of adventure and half an hour to spare, you might just have what it takes to be a Technic Ranger.
Well, couldn't have our first match without the patron of Kolhii.
When you think about a Bionicle game, you probably envision lots of adventure and exploration. But what about a sporting event? That's Kolhii Champions, a free-for-all multiplayer showdown featuring Matanui's favorite pastime. Now, the modern version of Kolhii is sort of a combination of street hockey and lacrosse, but the original Kolhii was basically football or soccer. And that's exactly what this is, soccer with a Bionicle twist. Grab some friends, and you got yourself a chaotic clash of Matoran misfits. I can hardly keep up. Taking place in the stone village of Onu-Koro, Kolhii Champions opens up with a small hub world full of NPCs and various creatures to interact with. From here, you can engage in small talk with the villagers, or hone your skills while you wait for the games to begin. The only catch? You gotta have 4 players to start a match, so remember to plan accordingly, or just spam everyone on social media like I did. But first, you gotta customize your own Matoran, with plenty of masks and colors to choose from. You can even rock an asymmetrical look if you're feeling really crazy. Once you're queued up for a match, the fun can finally begin. And when I say fun, I mean a desperate struggle for supremacy on the court of Kolhii. 4 players, 4 goals, anything goes. A deceptively simple event, best played over voice chat. Oh shit, we're actually playing.
Oh my god, there's a middle. No!
No.
Oh man.
No, foul. That's an illegal Kolhii move.
What a save, what a save, what a save.
Yes. Let's go.
I got second place with 0 points. Let's go.
I am the Kolhii champion.
What you need to do is you gotta intercut like the crazy sports action with us just like running around, just like doing nothing. Like extreme boredom punctuated by excitement.
Deep within the dark caverns beneath Matanui lies the diverse and thriving village of Onu-Koro. But when earthquakes threaten the safety of its inhabitants, it's up to you to help out as many Matoran as possible. It's Onu-Koro Cave-In on itch.io. A simple point-and-click adventure inspired by the old Matanui online games. On your journey, you'll be exploring every corner and crevice of the Koro, talking to NPCs, and using your chronicler's intuition to find out just what the hell happened. There's some great world building on display here, from environment design, dialogue options, and clever writing with a witty sense of humor. Just like Obi-Wan says, the Matoran form a symbiont circle. What happens to one of them will affect the others. So you're chatting with Nuparu, and he needs some protodermis ore. Onepu needs an extra saw blade, but hey, there's a spare saw blade just lying around. Give that to Onepu, who just so happens to have some protodermis ore. Before you know it, you're connecting the dots all over Onu-Koro, building a network of Matoran, lending a hand, and learning more about their society. It really reinforces the whole Bionicle theme of unity. Onu-Koro Cave-In is a Strand-type game. Before the adventure begins, it's time to create your own Matoran once more. The slick, cel-shaded style ties it all together. Smooth gradients and crisp outlines. The iconic vector art of those classic browser games is translated perfectly. The soft lighting and dynamic shadows create such a warm atmosphere, taking a location I had little interest in to begin with, and turning it into something really special. What started off as a small project for a game jam was further polished and refined to create this satisfying little RPG. Sure, some parts of the story might go over your head if you're not caught up on the Bionicle lore, but Onu-Koro Cave-In is one of those cozy games that will win you over with its fun characters and charming attitude. For all the chroniclers out there, this is one journey you won't want to miss. Kolhii Clash is a 2D fighting game being developed by Bell Games. Better brush up on those combos. It's time to throw down, Technic style. Bell's got some exciting updates in the works, so stay tuned. New characters like Onua and Axon. Pick up your air katanas and take to the skies. In Flying with Liwa, you do just that. Soaring through the air and collecting memories of past adventures. Just don't look down, cause gravity hurts.
If you ride with me, there'll be no foot walking, just air flying.
Sometimes to go fast, you gotta move very slowly. That's Capura Adventures. Created by Onifox and Team Kanohi, traverse the island of Mata Nui and do it at your own pace. Slow and steady wins the race.
From a distant past, two new heroes awake. Equipped with giant spears and the awesome Ratsuka spinner, they're ready for any challenge. Bionicle Special Edition.
What if I told you in 2003, there is a game being pitched to LEGO as Mario meets Tony Hawk? A fast-paced action platformer with a focus on momentum and movement, featuring an open-ended structure highlighting the character's athletic abilities. It was all about keeping pace and overcoming kinetic challenges inspired by the parkour. This was the original Mirror's Edge. Bionicle City of Legends was a cancelled project from Argonaut Games. Set in the futuristic city of Metro Nui, this would be an ambitious follow-up to their previous title, 2003's Bionicle the Game. In June 2019, a Biomedia Project contributor known as Hexadecimal Mantis archived a playable demo online. Mantis interviewed former Argonaut staff members and posted about it on their Tumblr. This remains our primary intel on City of Legends. During development on Bionicle the Game, Argonaut was split in two. Argonaut HQ in London, and Argonaut Sheffield. The main studio would handle open areas of exploration and combat, while Sheffield created shorter on-rails missions known internally as Adrenaline sections. After the game launched, Argonaut Sheffield would be solely responsible for conceptualizing their next Bionicle project.
The work done on Bionicle 2 was entirely done up in Sheffield. We had a lot more control over the content. We knew that the Bionicle audience was getting older, and their gaming needs were becoming more sophisticated.
A detailed pitch document was created to showcase the game's structure, mechanics, and setting, and hopefully get LEGO on board. The PDF goes over different characters and objectives, but it also emphasizes the importance of the player's movement, having a perpetual and intuitive approach to gameplay.
Combat is about boldness and not hesitancy. The player is rewarded for attacking with momentum and height. Movement skills are essential in combat.
So the faster you go, the harder you hit. Sounds like the type of game that encourages high-risk, high-level play. I think they were really onto something.
We wanted to do something that would appeal both to that audience and be an interesting game in its own right. We felt that the first game had been so compromised by production issues that it ended up being very disappointing. We wanted to make something fluid and interesting that was a joy to play as a platformer, and had the dynamism and the sense of scale that the Bionicle world deserved.
I got the chance to try out the demo myself to see what the hype was all about. Taking place in the industrial district of Ta Metru, you take control of Toa Matau as you run, jump, and swing your way through a small obstacle course. Those free-running elements from the pitch are on display here, from vaulting over cover, wall running, and more. It's an open area that gives you a taste of the combat too. Stand still for too long and mechanical spiders will attack. My true enemy ain't Makuta, it's arachnophobia. This build in particular was created for PS2 hardware. Picking up the controller, I found the movement to be very janky. much of the collision for wall jumping or swinging on bars is really hit or miss. I kept rewatching the scripted cutscene just wondering, what am I doing wrong? Surprisingly, not much. This was an early proof of concept created in an extremely limited time frame. Typically in game development, the player's movement is designed first. It takes many iterations and refinements to get it right. Then levels are designed around that moveset. But Argonaut didn't have a moment to spare. They needed to show something to LEGO as soon as possible to gain support for the project.
No other characters were made for that demo. I think we had a matter of weeks, and everything had to be done very quickly. That build represents a build that we sent to LEGO and Giant, who eventually became TT Games, for approval, and hopefully for more funding for the company. We spent a lot of time arguing the visual look of the character, as it was very different from what we'd done in the first game.
But unfortunately for Argonaut and Bionicle fans at large, LEGO did not see eye to eye.
It's very hard to explain to customers who are used to working with companies like advertising agencies, who can turn around a complete change of direction in a matter of days. You need to make and lock down decisions months or even years in advance. I think the penny finally dropped for LEGO about 3 months out from submission, that if they kept holding up approvals and kept requesting changes, they weren't going to get any game at all on the shelves. Which of course meant we all had to crunch like hell to get the content in good enough shape to ship.
I guess nowadays we've grown accustomed to ambitious AAA licensed games. But back in the 2000s, many games based on toys, movies, or cartoons were made on limited budgets and even tighter deadlines. You'd think LEGO of all companies would go for a more innovative project, but perhaps City of Legends was just too ahead of its time. Meanwhile, Argonaut was treading water. City of Legends was one of several potential projects to be cancelled. The studio needed to strike a deal with a publisher to keep the operation afloat. This was during a series of critical flops like Powerdrome, Malice, and Catwoman the Game, based on the Halle Berry movie. By October 2004, the writing was on the wall. Up to 100 remaining employees were laid off, and by November, Argonaut was no more. Not the best note to end on, but I do find this one particularly fascinating for its focus on character movement. I imagine the designers saw the Toa Metru animations and thought, how can we turn this into gameplay? And while the demo's far from perfect, there were moments that really nailed the concept. Special thanks to Hexadecimal Mantis for their incredible research into this project. You can read the full pitch document and check out the playable demo on biomediaproject.com. Don't go sightseeing just yet. We'll be right back with more Bionicle games after this.
Coming up next. Then at 10, Inuyasha.
Are we recording? Are we live?
Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Morgan, and this is Bionicle Illustrated, a free collaborative fanzine featuring artists from across the Matoran universe. We've got illustrations, we've got comics, we've got renders, and even building instructions. You can get your free copy of the zine today on my Gumroad, link below in the description. Now back to the show.
Time never stands still. Seasons change, leaves fall, even mountains are slowly worn down through the process of erosion. Eventually, everything comes to an end. This is Bionic Recur Unit. As a wandering Toa, you must gather the shattered remains of the Kolhii Vahi, legendary mask of time.
Gotta get back. Back to the past.
It's the only way to restore life to this desolate place. Along the way, you'll encounter other survivors. forgotten heroes without a purpose. Can't save the world alone. In this wasteland, you're stronger together. A big part of the game is talking to NPCs. Mostly optional, but they add so much personality to the purgatory you inhabit. Whether they be confused, hopeless, or bitter. Jaded by generations of despair.
Do yourself a solid. Walk away. Just walk away.
Some Toa are hostile and will attack on sight, while others remain optimistic and will join you on your quest. The main objective is to collect all 12 pieces to rebuild the Mask of Time. It's kind of like that old Slender Man game, but now the only thing you're running from is existential dread. Ain't we all? Bionic Recur unit was created in several months and released on August 10th, 2023. Originally, there were plans for first-person combat and RPG elements, but those were cut due to time constraints. The game was inspired by early concept art and CG renders from Bionicle's infancy. The title is also a deep cut reference. According to a blog post from series art director Christian Faber, Bionic Recur unit refers to the canisters carrying the Toa. Recur could also refer to the idea of repeating the same mission over and over, or being trapped in an endless void. But that's just my interpretation. The game's creator, Party Pooper, also uploaded a random Toa generator. The same script was used for the NPCs, not a bad way to rapidly brainstorm some Bionicle OCs. Glad I delayed the video so I could cover this one. Definitely feel it nails the Bionicle vibes on a more thematic level. Despite its bare-bones appearance, this game does have a bit more going on under the hood. Plenty of fun dialogue and achievements to unlock, like discovering the edge of the Earth. With the constant haze and low draw distance, you might not be able to see what's ahead. Sometimes, all you can do is move along, just to make it through. On August 10th, 2023, we received new intel on one of the most ambitious Bionicle fan projects to date. The ardent members of Team Kolhii have been hard at work on Bionicle Masks of Power. A 3D action adventure inspired by the initial storyline from 2001. From the molten rivers of Ta-Koro to the desert plains of Powahhi, it's gearing up to be an impressive new take on the legend, like never before. Running in Unreal Engine 5, Mask of Power features a fast-paced combat system, winding up powerful attacks, parrying oncoming blows, and backflipping out of harm's way. There's a big focus on the titular mask powers, like the Kolhii How showing off its shielding abilities. Different Toa will feature unique playstyles and special moves. Liwa is quick and nimble, while Onua is powerful and deliberate. Been hyped up for this one for a while. Can't wait to see more as development continues. One thing that stood out to me was the intricate level of detail going into the game's art assets. Now, if you're lazy like I am, you'd probably just import your studio models into 3D software, slap some shaders on it, and call it a day. Surely no one will notice that horrendous, chaotic topology. But Team Kolhii went the extra mile. Lego pieces were sampled from Bricklink Studio and either completely retopologized or built from the ground up. Those models are clean. A lot of love and care went into the materials too, with unique textures for different elements like masks, gears, and connectors. It was all about capturing that specific style of 3D renders from Bionicle's golden age, with modern tech. And best of all, you can download every single piece created for the game on maskofpower.com, complete with textures UV unwrapped and ready for your own creations. For a non-profit fan project, this game already has an immense amount of fidelity, passion, and hard work put into it. Look out for the playable demo coming early 2024. Soon, you'll take control of Toa Liwa as you traverse the jungle on a mission to rescue members of a certain beloved band, and no, I am not talking about the All-American Rejects. Speaking of music, the latest trailer for Mask of Power features a new song from Essinger and Cryoshell, who wrote and performed a lot of iconic tracks for Bionicle in the late 2000s. This ain't new metal, it's Nuva metal. To the fans, this was a dream come true. Another anthem to capture that specific attitude and energy behind the series. Musician, producer, and massive Bionicle fan Essinger is also part of Team Kolhii, helping with music and sound design for the game. One of many passionate artists teaming up to bring Mata Nui back to life. What most people would shrug off as old action figures and glorified toy commercials has become the basis for such a thriving online community. Everyone's got something to add to the mix. Diverse styles and unique perspectives. In the absence of official support comes a new wave of creativity. Maybe the real Bionicle revival was the friends we made along the way.
You're alive, Kolhii head. You could have been Makuta Bones.
The Great Spirit sleeps, and darkness fills the land. But two young heroes have discovered the key to Mata Nui's rebirth.
Sound the alarm! Get out of there! The mask!
Now, they must find the seventh Toa and fulfill the prophecy.
Toa of Light.
We are done running Bionicle Mask of Light. Next Saturday night at 7:30. This ain't your daddy's Lego.
Hey, what's happening? Andy McDonald here. Professional skateboarder, 6 times X Games gold medalist. Check this out.